Ready to go?
So our group's topic for this presentation is Air Pollution in Third World Countries by me, Parker Campbell, Mason Miller, George Prego, and Michael Fisher. Large amounts of air pollution can be extremely detrimental to one's health and an area's environment. Long-term health effects include heart disease, lung cancer, and respiratory diseases such as emphysema. Environmental effects include global climate change, crop and forest degradation, and ozone depletion in the atmosphere, which all bode dangerous effects to our environment. When the industrialized revolution started to escalate in the early 1900s, air pollution began to become a serious problem with the rapid increase of the burning of fossil fuels. These fossil fuels were coming from manufacturing companies that produce cars, engines, and various machinery. These companies were emitting harmful gases from smokestacks while producing these products. Today, air pollution is even more prevalent. According to Jason West of the Environmental Science and Technology Journal, air pollution contributes to premature deaths of millions of people each year around the world, and air quality problems are growing in many developing nations. Obviously, this is a very serious problem for our world today, especially in developing countries. So here's a graph from the Business Insider, and the red countries represent countries that have deaths from air pollution per 100,000 people, and the blue have less deaths with air pollution per 100,000 people. And as you can see, many developing countries in this area, such as Iraq, Egypt, and India, all have very high death rates from air pollution. And blue countries include the United States and Australia, which are both developed countries, and they have much less air pollution.
Our group's problem is that third world countries are being affected by air pollution from industrialized countries because they do not have the resources to deal with it. Third world countries are suffering the most from air pollution, and a lot of air pollution that is affecting them is coming from other countries. According to a company called Camphil, air pollution in developing countries tends to be worse than in developed countries because they do not have the technology or resources to deal with it. Also, air pollution is mostly caused by industrialized countries, as you can see in the table on the next slide. It shows that the countries with the highest CO2 emissions on the right are all developed, and the countries with the lowest CO2 emissions are developing on the left. The governments in third world countries are more concerned with growing the economies rather than dealing with air pollution. If they were to put money towards trying to deal with air pollution, it would hurt their economies and they would stay developing countries. Air pollution is becoming a serious health problem because of all the deaths it is causing. The World Health Organization said the health effects of air pollution are serious. 1/3 of deaths from stroke, lung cancer, and heart disease are due to air pollution. If air pollution continues to be bad, it will end up killing a lot of people in the future through diseases like lung cancer. If we were to limit air pollution in third world countries, it would help save a lot of people.
Our first solution is to get external support from developed countries. Helping developing countries struggling with air pollution is critical to the health of the people in these countries, according to Anna Ritchie and Max Rosier, both researchers and environmental scientists. Combating air pollution in developing countries will require the creation of air quality standards, and expanding industries will be forced to comply. The pros and cons are applied with the solutions. Pros including providing technology and help, and the cons including the financial burden and the possible disruption of the economy. And the implication of the problems are also implied with the solution, including with medical and healthcare facilities that the developed countries will provide. The air pollution could be severely could reverse or at least limit air pollution. The limitations involve outside help being hard to enforce, and the total price, like the con, would be a burden to the countries. Developed nations can help create technologies in developing countries, jumpstarting the process and leading to earlier environmental problem efforts. I got that quote from Campbell.
So our second solution to this problem is implementing further international agreements on climate change. This basically means that all the world leaders come together and they make an agreement on a certain restriction of air pollution or emissions as a whole. Basically, this was already tried before in 2015 because of the Paris Agreement. Many countries joined and it was looking promising until lots of countries started leaving, including the US just recently. This is still a good solution, however, because if we can fix the Paris Agreement or make a completely new compromise between countries, it would help limit emissions worldwide and not just in a specific area. A Harvard professor named Robert Stavins said, with the United States out of the Paris Agreement, it loses the ability to pressure other countries, such as large emerging economies, to do more. This is important so that when we create a new or fix the Paris Agreement, we need all countries to be included in. That way we can pressure countries that are not joined to join and lower their emissions as well. Some of the cons of this are some of the pros of this is that this will have a large impact on a huge area in the world, and that it will pressure other countries to reduce their pollution as well. Some of the cons are that countries can still back out of this, and that developed countries will not be responsible for the pollution that they have already caused in undeveloped countries. Some of the implications are that global emissions will fall, and that countries will be forced to plan for the future because of the agreement. And the limitations are that countries that rely on industries that create large amounts of air pollution will be unlikely to join because it will destroy their economy. And that, again, countries can leave the agreement and it's not permanent.
So in conclusion, we feel that the second solution, which is implementing further international agreements on climate change, is the more realistic and feasible option. While solution one does offer compelling benefits, it is just not economically realistic because the developed countries would have to be spending vast amounts of money for the solution to be effective. With further discussion on agreements, global leaders can come to an agreement that suits everyone. Even if their country's emission of pollutants is a small change, it can still be effective. With this solution, we can reduce the amount of harmful air pollution that has been plaguing developing countries for decades.